ecosystem merging is just partnering with somebody else for whatever that looks like for you and where that leads. In the course of generally just kind of growing and expanding your business, we look at it more in terms of collaborative speaking engagements. I bring people to mine, you bring people, I bring people, you bring people, and we grow it from there. But it really could be anything that you need. Like, so partnerships in business, investments, I don't know, that's the two things that come to my head right off the top, but you kind of can see where it's going from there. So.
The one thing of being really successful lawyer, okay, I would suggest, and I advise this of leaders in all kinds of walks of life, look in the mirror first. If you're not getting the results you want, look in the mirror first, okay? Most of the time we are getting in the way of our own success. Get out of your own way and work out what it is that you perhaps need to do more of, do less of, let go of, and then the path will be clearer.
You don't have to, take an hour each day to comment on other people's posts, but try to take 15 minutes every day just to comment on other people's posts. Let's say you take 15 minutes to comment on 5 or 6 posts, right? This way, of course, the LinkedIn algorithm favors you, but also, you're just being social on social media.
Well, I think one of the secrets is that, when people think about networking or building relationships, they think about being super artificial. They think about, cold calling people they don't like. And so for me, one of the biggest secrets is the more genuine and sincere your relationships can be, the more powerful they're going to be, and they're just going to work. So if you're building relationships just for referrals, that's a disaster. That's never going to work. But if you're building sincere relationships and they happen to be people who can send you referrals, then you're going to be sort of killing two birds. You're going to be, growing as a person and having really meaningful relationships. And then it's also going to have a business application as well. So so for example, just taking you, Jordan, on LinkedIn, you're you're yourself, I always see you in a Hawaiian shirt. You talk about the stuff that you're interested in and the stuff that you care about. And then people like me who really are into those kinds of things, we find you because you're so transparent about who you are. And that works way better than being fake and handing out business cards and begging for business all the time. None of that's going to work. We need more like Jordans. We need more unique people who are just willing to be themselves, rather than people who are just this is what a lawyer is supposed to look like. I'm going to pretend to be that.
Breezy, we got to cut that clip. We need more Jordans. I think that's the first time anybody has ever said that, including my wife.
Invest in learning how to aim, how to make a good plan, and how to honor your plan. And if you're weak in all three, that's okay. If you're weak in one, focus on that one, but that's a bit of a tripod. And so if you are not good at one of those three, you're going to be stuck or spin in some way. So invest in developing yourself to be good at all three. And sure, that could be me, but that could also be books and podcasts and whatever. So just make the decision to invest your money and your time in getting better at those three things, and developing your brain.
That was
having clarity on exactly what you're aiming for, making a well thought out, deliberate plan, and then honoring your plan. I think number 3 is the hardest, but depends on the human. David Goggins would probably disagree.
So this is the advice that I give, not just for maternity leave, but for every brand new attorney, every one of my mentees, interns, everybody. Decide what kind of lifestyle you want now and how your career is going to support your lifestyle. Because if you try and make your lifestyle support your career will be the only thing you're ever focused on. So that's the one piece of advice that I would give everyone.
I love that. And there are people that are truly motivated by money and get happiness out of that. And there are truly people that get happiness and joy out of their own personal prestige and, whatever, and to each their own. But I just find which one actually makes sense to you. Don't be working towards what you think other people want to see from you that you don't actually like, and then be miserable. What is the biggest piece of advice, the most important takeaway for somebody to become the exhibit A of a successful attorney?
Consistency. Don't give up because the results don't come immediately. Be consistent because you are basically planting and watering seeds and you don't know when that plant's going to bloom. I'll use my plant lady analogy for that one, but be consistent.
I love that. Yeah, it's amazing. And I always love when people share whatever it was, like Colonel Sanders started the first KFC when he was like 60. I don't know. There's a bunch of people that have been very successful, starting much later in life. So don't think that the ship has sailed. Don't think the platform is oversaturated. Don't think whatever it is. I'm with you. Just be consistent and keep it going, and you will find amazing success.
Absolutely. And my favorite to that example of Colonel Sanders is Ricky Gervais. He never was famous or did anything. And he is one of the few people that makes me laugh out loud of The Office fame, the British version, until after 40. That's when he started everything. And I thought, I'm not even 40 yet. So there's so much hope.
There we go.
Outsourcing your social media. I don't think you can fully outsource it. The lawyers that I have seen be successful at this do it themselves or in conjunction with a good digital marketing company. And I think for me, I have to do it in conjunction because I can't outsource the Mo Show. I just can't. That's who I am. It's what I do. My guests are my thoughts. I get input from other people. I have my law partner. I have my marketing agency has provided suggestions, but I don't think that's something you can outsource. I think you have to have your hand in the cookie jar if you're going to be involved and do a good job of social, because a lot of times your social media company is not in your community. So they don't know what's going on in your community for you to be able to say, hey, right across the street and starting in May, every Thursday from Thursday to the end of August is the Green Street Market in Huntsville. And it's a great thing where local vendors and local farmers market people come and do. Why don't you sponsor that, or why don't we help with that? My SEO company wouldn't know anything about that. They're not here. But when I tell them that this is an idea that I have, then their wheels start turning. They're like, okay, how can we leverage this? How can we do a graphic or a post or a promoted post? Or the things that we talked about. Yes, we leverage our marketing company all the time to do things like paid ads on social or how to best promote stuff or repurposing content.
Yeah, your business matters. So if you just look at what's on your plate and start being really intentional about how you spend your time and how you start systematically improving your business. It may not feel like billable work, but don't fool yourself. That is the only way, in my opinion, that you're going to see dramatic shifts in your business. So just start small, but get started and build some time in to make these changes in your business.
Love it. Makes perfect sense. And it is called the practice of law because the law is constantly evolving, but also it's called the practice of law because you can constantly make your firm better. You can make changes, you can make tweaks. So don't get overwhelmed. Get happy about the fact that you can get that much better every day, week, month, year, whatever, and hopefully have that fun, a better lifestyle, a healthier firm, a healthier lifestyle, a healthier life, a healthier everything.
I think at the end of the day, you need to be your authentic self and follow your passion. If you don't have a passion for social media marketing, if you don't particularly care about the Facebook, don't try to do it. Don't try to be fake. Be who you are. Find the stuff that you like to do, and that will draw you so much more financial gain, personal pleasure. But money is not the thing that should be motivating you in your practice, because you can get money a lot of different ways. You have to love what you do every day in a business such as we are in as lawyers, because if you don't have that love, if you don't have that burning drive, desire inside, it could be a miserable existence if you're just chasing the dollars, and that's no way to go through life. You only got one of them. So that would be my advice.
I love it. And find the way, or find the way to love what you do. And I don't mean that from the standpoint of like force yourself to think differently, but like, I don't like practicing law, so I hired attorneys, and I like running a law firm, and I like marketing a law firm, and I hate e-filing, so I hired somebody to e-file. Like, you can really sit there and create a system or a business that your role is what you genuinely enjoy.
Got to work smarter, not harder. And you really owe it to yourself. This is a tough profession. You are constantly being faced with deadlines and demands from your clients, opposing counsel, the court. It's not an easy profession. And when you're pushing yourself too hard, pulling too many all-nighters to get work done, when you're resisting getting help for whatever reason, you're not doing yourself any favors, and you're not doing your clients any favors, because all you're doing is putting yourself in the fast track to burnout, and that's not going to get you anywhere in the long term. So if you're really committed to being in this profession for the long term and succeeding in it, you need to build your team, and you need to start letting go of some of these tasks and delegating them. You're going to see a much higher level of success over the years than if you stay in that fast lane on the highway to burnout. We don't want to see you there. So take care of yourself. You really owe it to yourself and your clients to get the help that you
I would say the biggest piece of advice, if you implement only one tool out of the 7 that we give to you, is having a weekly stakeholders meeting. Invest 1 hour a week as an overall company to pour into your employees and to infuse your core values and your cultures and get clarity and get unity. That alone is a single-handed tool that I think keeps happy employees and keeps successful law firms.
Yeah, that was something that we brought in. Well, I mean, we changed how we were doing it during COVID, and now even with some of the people being back, we've gone back because it worked so well. I'm a huge fan of that. Once a week, we do it at the beginning of the week at 9 o'clock for one business, at 10:30 for legalese. And it's been great to really realign everybody every week, get everybody on the same page. Share, quick issues, share thanks and gratitude with everybody. I have started to look forward to it more and more every week, especially during everything that's been going on for now the last, 13 months.
At the end of our lives, none of us is going to wish that we had spent more time in the office, billed more clients, closed more deals, networked more, marketed more, tweeted more, updated our LinkedIn profile more frequently. What will matter will be the lives that we have touched, the experiences that we have had, the love that we have shared. What will matter is that we have attended not so much to the urgent, which is what we get all caught up in, but the important. What will matter is that we have lived without regret. Regret is a horrible thing to live with. And so to come back to that core principle that you led with, it's about creating the work and the life you love.
And I'm sure there will be some times where that closed case, where that social media engagement, where that personal branding, whatever it was, got you more freedom and flexibility to have time with your family, to take that vacation, whatever. But it's that mindset of prioritization that you really need to focus on, I think.
A lot of times when people ask me, what does it mean to crush chaos? Does that mean I have to be working 90 hours a week? Does that mean that I have to have no systems? And I think it's a combination really of a few things. And the way that I like to define what is the actual crushing of chaos is any system that isn't an organized system. In other words, it is combustion of activity in lots of different areas, right? So it typically means that you don't have everything in your business dialed in to the point where it's repeatable, where it's consistent, where it's recurring, where you ultimately have everything at a place where if something goes wrong, you can immediately say, let me go to the system, check where it is, and be able to refine it. And that's not just about the system of getting your work done orderly. That's about the system of your marketing. It's about the system of your sales process, which in a law firm is referred to as intake and consultations. It's about the system of your people. Are your people performing where they should be? Is that a management issue or a leadership issue or even a talent issue? Have you scouted the right people? Do you have them in the right role? So all of those different pieces, if you don't have all of them dialed in very systematically, then what happens is any ripple in one area is going to have an adverse effect and go into another area. And it's going to typically give you a consequence that you don't desire. And that more often than not affects your profit and it affects your time. The two things that lawyers always want more of. They want more money and they want more free time.
But in times of tragic circumstances, you must dig in and find your story. And again, there's a part of you, a part of your identity that you must let go in order to birth the new identity, the new business, your new reality. Always take advantage of a disaster like a pandemic.
So when you talk about that, that just triggered something for me. Are you talking about from sort of that, like, what got you here won't get you there type mentality? Or are you talking about, like, we all have that something holding us back and overcoming that is part of this process?
Oh yeah, I truly do believe that we all have something holding us back. And it's been suggested to me over the years, and I denied it. I think many of us live in denial. And so there's always two sides to the coin. There's the side that we present on a daily basis, and we need that. It's security. It's safe. We need that to get through. But recognize there's another side of the coin. There's another side to you that I think is just begging to be freed and be shown and be used for the greater good.
And a lot of times, even using that fear to overcome that fear is how you create your first audience. Because just like, I'm just imagining 20 attorneys in a room or in a virtual meeting just being like, all right, today's the day I post on social media. Like, today's the day I share my thing, and just getting all together to be like, all right, you got to do it. You got to do it. Like, we're gonna hold each other accountable. We're gonna help each other get through it. Like, I see a whole community together over this concept of putting yourself out there, of really, getting over those fears and concerns.
But Jordan, life is full of ups and downs. And I have just learned that the best for me is to stay on as much of an emotional even keel as I can. And I know we've all heard that term, but what does it mean? Well, everybody's emotions are different. Some people run hot, some people run cold, but life is going to be up and down. It's not always up and it's not always down. But when it is down, and whatever it may be that's troubling you, whether it's in your professional life or in your personal life, don't go at it alone. Life's too short to fight all the battles. Life's too short to assume that you will just figure it out. Well, figure it out, but get help. Whether it's a mentor, a therapist, a friend, a colleague, a relative, it doesn't matter. Just find somebody you trust, talk it out with them, and go forward.
And along those same lines, I was watching a video. It might have been on TikTok. It might have been on YouTube. I don't know. And basically, it boiled down to the guy making the point. You have to have the negative and bad things happen in your life to really understand and appreciate the positives. And so, you need those low moments, those valleys, to really have the peaks impact you in the way that they're meant to, so that you can have that, appreciation of living in the moment. What is the biggest piece of advice that you have, the most important takeaway on how anybody listening or watching this can be the exhibit A of a successful attorney?
You need to get somebody working on your intake team. You've got to start developing an intake team. That's the number one.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, you've got marketing, you've got sales, you've got fulfillment, you've got hiring, and pretty much everything a law firm does is one of those buckets. And so the intake thing, because a lead really has no value. It's that hired client. That's what's going to fund your firm. That's what's going to allow you to grow, give raises, hire more people, buy courses, hire experts, whatever it is that you need to be a successful attorney like yourself.
I think it was like a Zig Ziglar quote or something like that. It's like, you have to be thankful for the problems that you're facing today, because it's going to be what people are paying you for tomorrow. Stay in the pocket, work through whatever happens to be, whether it's a marketing challenge, whether it's a client challenge, whether it's an intake challenge. If you get through that, that is a feather in your cap that you have, that chances are your competition isn't going to take the time to figure out. And the harder it is, the more true that is.
Lean into technology. Look at your competitors. Look at Trademark Engine. Look at LegalZoom. Look at Hello Divorce. These are people who have leaned into technology and fully productized their services, and their profits are showing it. And by the way, the rest of the industry is so far behind. If you're one of the people that opt in to do that now, you're going to blow the rest of them out of the water and retire early.
Yeah, it's imagine telling somebody like, oh, don't bother having a website because 15 websites currently exist. Like, how dumb would that sound, I don't know, 20 years ago?
Right.
And now I see so many people like, oh, well, so-and-so already did it. Like, great, but what you said is so true.
The market is huge. Just because there's one out there, 80% of people in the US can't get access to legal services. Those people, it's not like they don't have cash. They have cash. They just don't have 2,000 for this and then a unknown amount of hours at this high billable rate. That model is broken and going away.
Vision is as far out as you can see. And so there's no perfect vision. There's no one size fits all. It's what are you imagining so that you can create it. So I'm actually a big Buddha quote there, what you imagine, you create, what you think I can't even remember what it is now. What you feel, you become, something very, very methodical or thoughtful on that. But really creating what that picture is, whether it is the size, whether it is income, whether it's cases, whether it's location, whether it's how you are showing up on that every single day and how those pieces piece together.
And really, I think I don't want to say it's a balancing test, but the more specific it can be, the more clear you can be on those things, the more other decisions become really easy, because it's, do they fit my vision or not?
Exactly. So those growing pains become much less painful, either because you know this temporary and you know where you're going with it and it's worth it, or they start disappearing because you're not having those pains because it's not fitting the vision.
Obviously, there's going to be those cases, I think, that are so blatantly obviously ripe for fraud. Like, there's going to be that thing that happens that makes it 99% clear, and really they're bringing you in from the standpoint of figuring out the level of fraud. But at the beginning of some of these cases, for business attorneys, for family attorneys, like, what should they be looking for at the beginning, or what questions should they be asking, or what should they be keeping their eyes open for to maybe bring you in before it's so obvious, or in a situation where there might be a little bit more that they can do about it?
Oh, so all these cases, the earlier I come in, the better, right? Because I can help with the discovery requests and make sure we're asking for the right thing and we're not using the wrong phrase for a particular report or accounting thing. So absolutely, it is so much better to come in early. But what kinds of things are we having the attorneys look for is, unwillingness to give information or produce documents is always a red flag. Producing documents with gaps in them that they will not fill, and just general suspicious behavior. And so I named 3 things. Any one of those 3 by itself might not be a problem. What we see in cases where there is fraud is probably 2 or all 3 of those are probably going to be present. And so I always say it's kind of like death by 1,000 cuts. When you bunch of little things kind of add up and create this big picture where you think there's probably something shady going on.
He
key to every single thing that you do online in business is relationships, building relationships. It is the essential piece of everything that you do, building relationships with clients, building relationships with potential partners that can refer you business, creating those relationships. And when you approach social media and video marketing from this perspective of, hey, I'm not necessarily doing this to get business. Yes, that is the goal, and we need to make sure that it is accomplishing that goal. But if we come from that place of, hey, I'm doing this to build relationships, it becomes easy. It becomes fun. Social media was designed to have fun, to create community, to create relationships, to be able to connect with people all over the world. I have contacts and friends all over the world. It's amazing. And I'm able to stay connected with them on a regular, consistent basis, even though some of them I've never even met in person. And that is an incredible, amazing, beautiful thing to be able to accomplish. And so when we come from this place of looking at social media, that it allows us to have stronger relationships with so many more people, and understanding that our time is valuable, their time is valuable. You can't always go get coffee. You can't always, jump on an hour-long phone call. But we have the potential to connect and build relationships with so many people. And that's what's amazing. I mean, it just feels good to be able to connect with people on a deeper level. And so approach everything you do online with being able to provide value and build relationships and really care about people, and the rest will take care of itself.
Training is forever. Training is not once a year for 4 hours. Training is not once every 4 years for 2 days. Training is forever. And if you want to get better at things, here's the thing. If you're a consultant, the easiest way to sell consulting is to find a pain point, poke it with a stick until a person cries, and then they beg you to fix it, and you take money and you fix it. The only problem with that is if you want to make the maximum contribution to people, it's not fixing their weaknesses, it's improving their strengths. All their leverage is in improving strengths. If you can crank somebody who's an 8 at something up to a 9, that's like a huge contribution than taking something that they're a 2 at and making them a 3. If you're bleeding in some area, stop the bleeding. But whatever you're really good at, hire consultants to make you better at what you're already good at. That's where you multiply your profit. And with training, you take the teams that you've carefully selected that are really good at things and you make them better. So for example, reception, okay? Ideally, reception is somebody who answers the phone like they're saying, I love you, with a smile in their voice. Okay, that's the ideal. Who can do that? I could do that perfectly for 5 minutes, right? But there are people in the world who could do that every time. You got to find them, you got to build them, you got to train them. Now, if you do that, does that mean that your case is starting off better? Sure. Would it be better to have that in your firm if you could? Sure. Is it a priority? Is it worthwhile to cultivate that if you can? Yes. So how do you train that? How do you set that expectation? How do you set the standard for how the phone is answered? That's one example. Your case managers, how well they manage rapport. What is rapport? Do they know what it is? Do they know what it looks like and smells like? Do they know how deep rapport can go? If they did a training for 1 hour a week, every Tuesday at 10 a.m., the power hour, every week, every Tuesday, forever, they wouldn't train on the same thing every week, but they train on related skills, and every week they train in another skill, and you stair-step those skills up through repetition, through spaced reinforcement over time. That's it. That's $1 million recommendation. You cannot but massively improve if you follow that model.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Exhibit A Attorneys. If you're interested in becoming the Exhibit A of a successful attorney, please check us out at legalesemarketing.com, EASE.